Last time out for the British Talent Cup at Donington Park, it was resplendent in the sunshine, and we saw some great battles at the sharp end of the field, including Harrison Desoy, Sullivan Mounty, Evan Belford, etc., all involved in the action in the early stages. It was going to be a fraught fight for the victory. Sullivan Mounty duffing up the inside. Likewise, Lucas Brown on the black number 29 there going through at the McLean's corner as well. It's always action stations for the Honda British Talent Cup at Donington Park, and this weekend was no exception. Down into the hairpin bend, you can see Evan Belford going for the supermarket deal, 2 for the price of 1, getting the lead, but running slightly wide on the exit of the corner. Would it leave him under attack as he came in towards the final turn? Well, Mounty tried to invent something as Belford went for the defensive line into Goddard's. Look at Desoy though, up the inside of them both, through into the race lead. Mounty, a spectacular high side under the final corner, out of podium contention as it left Harrison Desoy on the Microlith Crestwell racing bike to take the win, with Mounty ruining what might have been. Welcome along to the first race of the weekend for the R&G British Talent Cup here at Knockhill. Resplendent in the sunshine this weekend, and this is going to be a hugely exciting event. These are the first 2 rows of the grid. This is the American rider Julian Correa, the Microlith Crestwell racing team. Alongside him, a new face at the Vision Track Racing outfit. It's Ollie Walker. We're used to seeing him out on his own bike, but he's been drafted into the Vision Track team for the remainder of the season, and he's having a great adaptation with a middle of the second row start. He lines up alongside Sullivan Mounty Neil on the inside of the second row.
Yeah, fantastic weather, fantastic circuit for these guys, and Evan Belford, the previous winner here, sitting on pole position and already under the lap record, so expecting big things from Evan Belford. We have got some replacement riders on the Vision Track front. All the best to Johnny Garness. He's obviously not here this weekend, but these spaces soon get filled up, so we've got a lot of competitive riders out there. Great to see Rhys Stevenson. Also, he had a tough track this season at Silverstone with a crash there. He's in the front row as well, the number 23, so got some great riders out there and some great action ahead of us.
Absolutely, yeah. Evan Belford lining up on pole position. Always a circuit that he generally goes well at. Keen to see what Amanuel Brinton is going to be able to do. It's his rookie season, and he's only come to this circuit this weekend. Qualified on the inside, or the middle of, I should say, of the front row of the grid. Great for him because he's used to competing on the European tracks, and this Knockhill circuit, Neil, is a very different kettle of fish.
It certainly is, but it is a fantastic circuit. It has everything here. Elevation changes, uphill, downhill, chicanes, fast corners, slow corners, hairpins, different changes of camber, so it's the perfect racetrack to learn your skills, and it's a short lap as well, so you get to go around the corners lots and lots of times, 22 times in the British Talent Cup race, so they've got a long race ahead of them. They've got to think about race strategies, looking after their tyres. It's hot conditions here. The Dunlop tyres, got to say, will go the distance. They will be as fast on lap 22 as they are on lap 1, so we're going to see some great action here and a full grid as well.
You can see the point standings there. Evan Belford with a 9-point swing over Harrison Desoy, 29 points ahead of Harley McCabe. 2 races for the R&G British Talent Cup here today as well, and not a great amount of time between the two either. So if anything goes wrong here for some of the riders in the first one, they may not have the time to rectify the bike for race 2. Here is the grid though. It's Evan Belford lining up on pole position with Amanuel Brinton and the returning Rhys Stevenson on the outside of the front row. Then it is Sullivan Mounty. So unlucky at race 2 at Donington to high side of the final corner with the Vision Track rider new to the team, Ollie Walker, with Julian Correa alongside. Then it's Harrison Desoy with Troy Jeffrey and Ryan Frost on board the number 24. Clayton Edmonds, Scott McPhee, cousin to John, lines up on the middle of row 4 in his home event with Charlie Huntingford on the outside. Philip Sorowiak, Lucas Brown and Harley McCabe on row 5. Then it's Davidson Harris and Alexander Rowan on row 6. Eli Banish, then Jones and Josh Bannister on row 7. And Harrison Mackay Jalifi and Goodman on row 8. Pilpenko, Willis and Luca Hopkins on row 9. And then it's Barnes and O'Neill completing the 29 rider strong field. Well, it's a relatively long lap for these riders, relatively long race, I should say, for these riders. 22 laps here on these British Talent Cup bikes, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play it in terms of strategy for this one.
Yeah, well, being testosterone-filled teenagers, they will be just giving it everyone from when the lights go out. But these races are deliberately long. It's the road to MotoGP for these guys, so it gives them great track time, great experience. I've got a couple of races here today. Everything was delayed a little bit because there was a lot of school exams happening earlier in the week, so normally they'd have one race Saturday, one race Sunday, but they've got a hectic schedule today, as you said, Tom.
Well, the riders then Lined up on the grid, it's Evan Belford alongside Amanuel Brinton and Rhys Stevenson on your front row. It's going to be all eyes on the lights and 22 laps for the R&G British Talent Cup. Lights out and we're underway. Good start from Belford from pole position. He immediately chops the nose off of Amanuel Brinton and Rhys Stevenson down towards the first corner. He gets the whole shot and he leads down into Duffer's Dip for the first time. Not a bad start for Sullivan Mounty. He's just being followed by Ollie Walker as they come through. Julian Correa looking like he's been duffed up a little bit there by Troy Jeffrey possibly in the first couple of turns. Relatively clean through the first couple of corners, but Evan Belford doing exactly what he wanted to do, leading the way at the front through the first sector.
Yeah, Troy Jeffries, he's been missing from the championship this year, did the whole season last year, and due to funds and circumstances has only managed to get his season going here, but he was a podium finisher last year, the young Scot, so great to see him back on the grid.
It's actually Ryan Frost who was ahead of Julian Correa, but not for long, because there's going to be a move being made for that position into the final corner of the hairpin. Looks like it was nice and clean, all's fair in love and war here, as the riders already come across the timing line. It's Belford leading the way, but only by a whisker from Amanuel Brinton. Down the hill we go, in towards the first corner. Brinton going for the inside line, or at least having a half look, decides to back out of it at the last moment, not challenging Belford at this early stage of the race. But it's Belford, Brinton, Stevenson, Mounty, Correa, Walker, and then Correa. That's your top six, followed by Ryan Frost, and then Clayton Edmonds with Harrison Desoy and Harley McCabe completing the top 10 so far. Slightly wide there for Brinton through the second part of that chicane.
Yeah, a little bit wide, but also using all the track, and with these bikes you've got to keep them on the side of the tyre as long as possible. It lowers the gear a little bit, gives that extra little bit of drive, and that's quite an important factor coming out of the chicane. Great to see Rhys Stevenson back. He was one guy that could push Johnny Garness last year. Johnny Garness obviously dominated the championship, took that championship win. But Rhys Stevenson, certainly in the closing stages of the year, the latter stages of the year, he was the man. So he started the season favourite. Hasn't had so much great luck this year, but great to see him back fighting for a podium position.
Sullivan Mounty looking to try and take that podium position away down to the first corner. We know he's always last to the late breakers. Fastest lap for Evan Belford as Mounty elevates himself up into P3. So nice move for Mounty. He's been quick so far this year. We know he has potential. Of course, he won race 1 at Donington Park a few weeks ago. That spectacular DNF though. He's quick, but he struggles with consistency.
Well, he is, but I think that can be ironed out. I love watching him. He's all action, full commitment at all times. Oh, nasty wobble coming out of Clark's there for the number 50 to Evan Belford. He has to be careful with that. That could end him up in all kinds of problems, but you can see Brinton there looking to take advantage of that, breaking into the Taylor's hairpin, not quite close enough this time, as Rhys Stevenson goes a little bit wide. Yeah, a little bit wide there. It's just costing him a little bit of time. Already the top 4 have splintered away from Julian Correa, Ollie Walker, Ryan Frost, Clayton Edmonds and Harrison Desoy, who bring up the rest of the group at the front. Are we going to see Brinton going for a move down the first corner? Not quite, but I dare say Sullivan Mounty, if you give him an inch, he is going to take a mile. We know he's not afraid of getting his elbows out, and he is definitely going to be one to watch here in this one. But yeah, that's interesting, isn't it, for Evan Belford, because that slight moment there, it was quite early on in the lap, but it cost him really dearly. Yeah, it did. Already new lap record already to Sullivan Mounty, 53.7. That's a 10th quicker than Carter Brown. That he set the lap record last year, actually on my birthday, 19th of June last year. So yeah, the guy's gone fast already, just 4 laps in. So down in towards the hairpin bend. Is it your birthday tomorrow? No, it's July. Oh, July. Oh, I see. That's Rhys Stevenson out of the final corner. He's high-sided his way into the gravel, and he's going to be attended to by the marshals. The bike's stricken off the circuit, fortunately, and out of harm's way, and we hope that Rhys Stevenson is okay. So that means that it goes from a 4-way fight down to 3 at the front, and it's now Evan Belford who is going to be the rider under attack, followed by Amanuel Brinton and then Sullivan Mounty, who's kind of all on his own. He's just sort of sitting there, but that was a big moment there for Stevenson. Huge. This could be a safety car if they don't get Rhys. He was obviously moving conscious, but in some kind of discomfort. It's a classic. It's a classic crash coming out of the hairpin. The track dips a little bit just when they're getting on the power on the edge of the tyre. Rhys is still lying face down there. Let's hope he is okay. Maybe just a bit windy, a bit stunned. Poor old Rhys Stevenson also having a He's having a big year as well, because in the MotoGP Red Bull Rookies Cup as well, first season in that championship.
Oh,
another
that's Luca
there.
Hopkins, who's gone down as well on the 41. So his return to the championship not going particularly fortuitously. Missed the first round due to injury, broke his collarbone at Silverstone in free practice, and then was back on the track. Reece Stevenson there just being stretchered away, and we certainly do hope that he is okay. Any updates that we can bring you, of course, we will do. But 2 crashes in the space of a very short space of time. Let's look at Reece Stevenson falling in the ditch.
Classic there. He's coming up the hill out the hairpin, back to bottom gear, just trying to get on the throttle, trying to get that gap back that he lost. Oh,
that's Hopkins.
Hopkins out of Clark's corner again. Shaky corner. Camber changes as they come over the crest there. It's a blind corner, and it's very tricky. But yeah, Hopkins just getting caught out there. Easily done.
Yeah, thankfully up and okay. Meanwhile, back at the front, it is now Amanuel Brinton who's putting the pressure onto Evan Belford. Lap 7 of 22. We're about to begin. Further back, look at this squabble going on. 2 Microlist Cresswell Racing bikes with Julian Correa involved in the action, as well as the 55 of Harrison Desoy. Here comes Ollie Walker on the Vision Track bike, trying to have a little half look up the inside of Desoy. Desoy won race 2 at Silverstone last time out. He's had 2 victories so far this season, with another one at the first race of the year at Silverstone as well. He's definitely a rider that could put something together for the championship, but he's kind of mired in the sort of lower half of the top 10 as it stands.
Yeah, that right. Certainly got potential. But
dropping like flies at the moment, aren't they?
Gosh, that looks like the exit to the chicane, if I'm not wrong.
Well, thankfully the rider up and okay. I wonder if that might be Scott. It's the 11. It's Scott McPhee. Sorry, no, I think it might be the 11 of Ewan Jones who's gone down. Oh, and that is a 71, I'm afraid, of Daniel Goodman on the Vision Track bike. Middle of the track, the bike is stricken there. Hopefully he's able to get to his feet, but there definitely will be a yellow flag, possibly a safety car, maybe even a red flag if he's not able to get out of harm's way before too long. But this is not good, because it's a very short lap here. They'll be coming around very quickly.
Dropping like flies. I'm not sure what's going on. We've actually got perfect conditions. The race pace is very fast. The guys are all obviously on the limit, pushing hard, but track conditions are absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that's Daniel Goodman lying stricken in the middle of the circuit. Red flag is out, unsurprisingly at all for them. So hopefully Dan is okay, and he'll be attended to by the race safe medics and the marshals here to get him out of harm's way, straight to the medical centre. See Reece Stevenson's bike stricken on the outside of the circuit when he went down on the outside of the final corner as well. But over the line last time, it was Evan Belford from Amanuel Brinton and then Sullivan Mounty. We haven't reached 2/3 distance in this race, so the likelihood is we will get a restart. And Dan Goodman now being attended to as the medical car makes its way onto the circuit. Yeah, it was Ewan Jones just having confirmation, the other rider that went down. We saw it just before Dan Goodman hit the deck. And unfortunate there for Ewan, because it's his home round here at Knockhill, and he was up on his feet. We saw him lying on the outside of the tyre barrier as he got himself out of harm's way. Here's Sullivan Moundsey then, circulating in 3rd place, already broken the lap record. He knows he's got the pace, doesn't he?
Got the pace. Top 3, obviously, have the pace. Evan Belford, Amanuel Brinton and Sullivan Moundsey all really on the pace, and yeah, unfortunately for them, they had a nice breakaway group there, so all guaranteed a podium position. But they're going to have to start. We'll just keep our eye on the new race schedule. I did mention Troy Jeffrey there. He's actually in 15th place, so still circulating the Scotsman, so in the points. But yeah, fresh restart. So yeah, going to get a much closer finish when all these guys kick off again.
Yeah, Moundsey just going in to have a chat with Harrison Mackay, his Wilson Racing teammate, maybe exchanging a bit of chat about how their races have gone so far.
Each incident was at a different corner, so it wasn't like there was any dirt or any lack of adhesion at any one corner. It was just unusual.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what we will do is take a quick pause here, and as soon as we get any more information on the restarted schedule for this Honda British Talent Cup race at the Knockhill circuit, we will come back to you and bring you all of the action from the R&G British Talent Cup Race 1 here in Scotland. Pit lane is now open as we get ready to restart the first race of the RNG British Talent Cup. The red flag being brought out following a crash for the 71 of Daniel Goodman. Let's have a look, shall we, at the incident just once again. We saw the back end of it. Big high side coming out of the right-hander. That's Clark's, isn't it? And you can see there Alfie Davison with his arm up, looking like a technical related problem just in front. Then in the background, Goodman goes sky high, comes down with a big clatter, and then in the middle of the circuit, clearly quite some discomfort. The good news is he's been attended to by the medics. He's been taken away in an ambulance. He was conscious and talking. Sounds like he's hurt his foot quite badly, though, so we will await any further news. But the good news is that it's nothing too serious to worry about there for Dan Goodman.
Yeah, big crash, but yeah, looked a bit shaken, maybe windy to begin with, but okay. Just got a little bit wide there, and he's already on the gas coming up the hill. The camber changes, the circuit flattens out, and you see the big black line he left. There just was no grip. The suspension and tyres didn't want to know when he entered that camber change, and it's easy to get caught out there.
Well, 2 warm-up laps, and then it is a quick restart procedure for these riders as they make their way onto the grids. They can have 1 team member with them, then they'll go off on their 2 warm-up laps, get the heat back into the tyres and the brakes, and then we get ready for a 12-lap restart for this first race, which is going to be really interesting, actually, because, of course, it was 22 laps. You can see their confirmation of those 2 warm-up laps. But at the front, we had Evan Belford, Amanuel Brinton and Sullivan Moundy going toe-to-toe with one another, and they sort of splintered away from the rest of the field.
They had, yes, and as I said before, the British Talent Cup races are deliberately long to give the riders lots of experience, obviously to riding fast, get to know the circuit, but also having good race strategies. So, but this is going to be a 12-lap dash, so it's going to be much different.
Problems here for Clayton Edmond, by the looks of things. His bike's being pushed off of the grid. Some kind of a technical issue for him on the RS Racing City lifting bike.
He can start from the pit lane if they get that into the pit lane.
Well, let's hope that it's only a minor problem and he's able to get the bike up and running. You can see him there just making his way to the end of pit lane. So it looks like it is going to be a pit lane start for Clayton Edmonds. So a lot of work for him to do. Of course, I suppose some solace of some small crumb of comfort is that as he goes to the back of the grid.
So back of the grid, yeah. He had to wait there till the safety car passed by and he can get in the back of the grid. Maybe just stalled it. Could be as simple as that.
Yeah, well, either way, he makes his way to the grid. Then that's a shame for Clayton. He qualified P10 yesterday, was circulating pretty well. And it does mean that it's going to be a difficult time for him. Meanwhile, here is the grid then for the restart. It's Evan Belford, Amanuel Brinton, Sullivan Moundy on the front row. Row 2, Julian Correa, Harrison Desoy and Ollie Walker on the Vision Track bike. Then row 3, Ryan Frost, Harley McCabe and Clayton Edmonds then, or it would be Clayton Edmonds in 9th place, but of course he's going to be at the back of the grid. Row 4, Scott McPhee, Charlie Huntingford and Ronnie Harris. Row 5, Lucas Brown, Harrison Mackay and Troy Jeffrey, who had a tricky start to the race, qualified quite well, but went a little bit backwards, so more work for him to do in this restart. Roviak, Rowan and Willis on row 6, row 7, Bannister, Jaliff and Banish. Then row 8 is Barnes, Pilpenko and Davidson. Row 9 is O'Neill, and then it should be Jones and Goodman, but of course we know that Ewan Jones crashed out, as did Daniel Goodman, who ended up on the deck. That brought out the red flag, hence why we now have the 12-lap restarted race. What do you reckon we're going to get for this one? It's going to be carnage, isn't it?
Try and avoid that word.
Light-hearted
well, carnage in close racing terms, hopefully. Carnage and any more riders jumping off, I definitely hope not. But yeah, it's going to be hectic. It's just going to be hectic. The 3 front row guys were the guys battling for the podium, and I think we'll see some of that, but there's going to be a lot more in the mix. There's a lot of riders there that are quite capable of finishing on the podium here at Knockhill, so we shall see.
Well, the riders there making their way around the final corner, on to the grid, ready to go for the restart. You can see Scotland in the distance looking absolutely resplendent in the sunshine.
Beautiful there. Ocho Hills in the background. That valley goes all the way down to Wallace Monument in Stirling, and it really is the most stunning racetrack, and made even more stunning by our incredible drone shots this weekend. Loving these drone shots here at Knockhill.
Yeah, it does look absolutely wonderful. You should do a tourism guide, Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a local area. Get you on
Scottish
the
tourist board.
There's always an opportunity there, isn't there? Right, riders then on the grid, ready to go for the restart. 12 laps ahead of the riders, ready to go then. It's going to be all eyes on the lights. Can Belford get away well like he did in the first running? Restart is underway for the Honda British Talent Cup here at Knockhill. Great start for him. Not so good for Brinton off the middle of the front row, though. He gets swallowed up. Mounsey is ahead, going in towards turn one. Looks like Desoy on the inside of his teammate there as well for fourth place. Not quite able to get ahead, but Correa possibly now under attack into the right-hander, and indeed Desoy is through and up into P4.
Evan Belford made an incredible start. I hope he wasn't creeping. He certainly got the jump before anyone else, and it was exceptional the way he got down to the first turn. That's one of the Cresswell bikes.
Yep, that is. And barrel rolling is Harrison Desoy. So the winner from race one at Donington Park, race two I should say at Donington Park, ends up on the deck, punching the gravel, clearly frustrated, and that'll be very, very disappointing for him because he was running so well this weekend, and it does now mean that there'll be no points on the board here in race one. And of course, race two is not too far away this afternoon either.
It's not, yeah. Hopefully, rider and bike can be repaired. Yeah, Harrison Desoy also, I believe, joining the Vision Track team for the European Talent Cup. But yeah, you did mention the word carnage, and it happened after 6 corners. Yeah, Desoy just getting on the gas as the track dips away there. He would have normally used more of the paint there, but caught out the rear end coming round, and yeah, he had no chance to get out of that one.
Well, a very small error has very big consequences. Harrison Desoy on the deck then. 24 riders now remain. 29 started the original running about 20 or so minutes ago. Meanwhile, back at the front, it is Evan Belford, who's now got 0.4 of a second over Amanuel Brinton. He's really trying to pull the pin in these early stages. He wants no competition in the form of Brinton or Mounsey behind.
Yeah, Ryan Frost, a rider that a lot of people are talking about, he's up to a nice 5th position. I reckon it'll be Ryan Frost's first visit to Knockhill racetracks. A few offs this year, a few potential great qualifying, so great start in the second part of this race.
A couple of riders who've had great starts as well. Alexander Rowan down in 11th place. He's made up 6 places off of the start. And the number 8 of Alfie Davidson on the machine as well. We saw him having what looked to be a technical problem right before Goodman's crash. He had to start a little bit further down the order than he would like as a result of that. He's made his way up 11 places into P13. So good race for him inside the points and very much in contention for the top 10, given how close the field is in the sort of lower echelons of the top 10 at the moment.
Different lines coming through the chicane there. I expected this 12-lap race to be much closer, but Evan Belford just got the job done in the first lap. Obviously, the Desoy incident coming out of the chicane split the other guys up a little bit, but yeah, Evan Belford really got this one under control.
Not quite going as fast as they were in the first run. It's only a couple of laps in behind, so now they've got a bit of heat in the tyres. We'll see whether he can get himself under the lap record. It was a 54.1 over the line last time around. He's a 1/10 of a second slower than that at the start of lap 4, but still circulating, about the same sort of pace actually as Brinton last time, a couple of tenths quicker than Mounsey in third. This is a good little battle going on for P4 though, with Julian Correa, Ryan Frost in the middle, and then Harley McCabe on board the green number 7 in the background. And McCabe has had a good run so far in 2022. Second place at Donington in race 2 last time out. That's his only podium finish there so far, but he's been relatively consistent, but for one DNF in the first race at Donington.
It's another rider with a lot of potential. Harley McCabe made his British Talent Cup debut a couple of years ago here. He'd never ridden the Moto3 bike before he came here, and he didn't actually make the race because he had a bit of an incident. Got a race control message here.
21 with a ride-through penalty. Time equivalent there for them. So
it's Troy Jeffrey.
Troy Jeffrey it is, yeah. So we understand that he took up the wrong grid position for that, so he's going to get an 11-second time equivalent ride-through penalty, and that's going to destroy his race, given how close the pack is, relatively speaking, for him, and that's a huge shame, because I'm just looking at the timing screen. He's down in 18th place already, so it's going to be, well, very much a lowly out-of-the-points finish then for Jeffrey as it stands.
That's too bad, the young Scot. He's just nice to see him out there again, a rider with a lot of potential, and as I said, a podium finisher here last year, so not to be at least in race 1 here this year.
Ryan Frost looking pretty handy on the back of the American Julian Correa. Is he going to maybe think about a move in towards the hairpin bend? He's certainly close enough. He pulls alongside on the brakes, dips his leg out, but goes back behind the Microlist Cresswell Racing rider. Decides better of attacking at the moment. But yeah, 3 riders at the front who are all squabbling for position with Belford, Mounty and Brinton. Belford, despite having very quick lap times, is actually being responded to by Brinton, who set the fastest time in the race so far, now a 53.8 compared to Belford, the race leader's 54 flat. Oh, you see there Correa taking a lot of curve.
I love that line. That's a new line for me. Down the hill there across the paint, that's just not a line that works, because you have to set yourself up for the next turn, which is a right-hander, so you're going to push yourself wide. But yeah, maybe just misjudged it a little bit. Evan Belford, I've got to say, he's really at one with this Knockhill circuit. Last year he broke his leg early in the season. He returned to racing here for the Knockhill round and won, so he's obviously got a good feeling with it. He likes the circuit, it comes to him really easy. He's doing a great job at the front. There's only half-second gap. It's not inconceivable that Amanuel Brinton could close that gap, so just have to keep our eye on things.
Absolutely, yeah, a couple of tenths of a second to the good he was last time around in terms of the lap time. The gap's still sitting at just now under half a second, so it's come down incrementally or so. A personal best lap time, though, for Belford as he tries to respond. Meanwhile, this battle for 4th place still continues. Ryan Frost there still behind Julian Correa with that, again, a lot of curb through turn 2, isn't it?
Well, it works for him, but yeah, why not? Sometimes someone that comes up with something a little bit different might just work. Valentino Rossi did it enough times, doing stuff other riders couldn't do, and it didn't do him any harm in his career.
Ollie Walker just sitting behind these riders as well, making his debut with the Vision Track Racing team. Has been run by Steve Patrickson over the first couple of rounds of the season, but space became available at Vision Track with Josh O'Brien dipping out of racing for the foreseeable future. And Ollie Walker was drafted in, and I was talking down to the team manager Nathan. He said, I have to say, Steve Patrickson has done an amazing job of just getting Ollie ready for the right team environment. He's just gelled so well and is ready to go, because a lot of the time when you're running a lad and dad outfit and then you go into a team, it's quite a different environment.
Very much so, yeah. That's the great thing about people like Steve Patrickson, John Cresswell, Ryan Saxby. They stick with this class, they stick with the young riders, and there are no better people. Pete Banks, another guy, no better people in the paddock to look after youngsters. Sometimes the dads just need to step to one side and let these guys, they're so good. They've won championship, they've won dozens and dozens of races, so they really do know what they're doing with the youngsters, and it's a wise move if dads just step to one side and let these guys take control.
Could be on for a change of lead here with Amanuel Brinton looking very close onto the back of Evan Belford. Brinton's been racing over in Europe for the majority of his life, actually, and this is his debut season in the Honda British Talent Cup. First full season, I should say, and he is going great guns out there. First time here to Knockhill this weekend, stuck in on the front row of the grid, now challenging Evan Belford for the race lead as they come down the hill into Duffer's Dip. No way through, no room at the inn for Belford through there, but I'd have to say, he's a very tall rider. He makes that Honda look very small. He's about 5'11", 6 foot or so, and he almost dwarfs it, doesn't he?
He does, but he's flexible and he gets tucked in well, and it's not doing any harm here at Knockhill. And yeah, particularly impressive, as you said, first visit here to the circuit. There's a lot of riders done a lot of laps around here, and it is very technical. It takes a bit of getting used to, but fair play, first visit, and fighting for podium.
So let's have a look and see what happens at the front of this one. Further back, we just saw a brief glimpse there of Julian Correa still with Ryan Frost and Harley McCabe in tow. Out of the final corner come the top two have broken away now from Sullivan Mounty. But if they start squabbling amongst one another, I know there's only a handful of laps remaining, but it could possibly cause a bit of an upset here, and it may become from a two-way to a three-way fight. Track limits warning for the 29. That's Lucas Brown. Oh, big wobble there over the crest for Amanuel Brinton. That's the first warning sign.
Well, that just shows you how hard he's pushing, and that's an unusual place to have a rear-end moment like that, so I don't think he'll do that again. But yeah, just coming into turn one here, gets on the throttle through the right hand. You see the rear coming round, great control, he could feel it, rolls back in the throttle, just gets his feet, it gets his weight off the rear, off the seat, so lets things get back under control underneath them, and back to business.
Ride 'em cowboy for Amanuel Brinton, then down in towards the hairpin we go. It's going to be 2 laps remaining at the end of this one, and I have to say Brinton is looking very competent on the brakes. Not to say that Belford isn't, mind, but this is going to be a very interesting squabble between the two. Mounty closing the gap ever so slightly as well. Still about 6 or 7 tenths of a second between those two. Is Brinton going to go for the move at the first corner? Decides discretion is the better part of valour at this time.
Yeah, it's one thing being fast on your first visit here, and he's obviously got the track sussed out, but other experience you get as you visit this track a few times is good places to pass, and how the track is when you do try to pass. For example, into the hairpin, if you go right going into the hairpin, you're thinking outbrake someone. The track dips quite a lot, and it really upsets the bike, so it's not a straightforward move. I'm sure he's thinking about into the hairpin as a passing manoeuvre. Maybe not in this lap, he's not close enough, but he has to be careful because he probably hasn't been at that part of the track before, and it has a little quirks here and there that can catch you out.
Belford being the smaller, lighter riding, it's great drive coming out of the corners as well, whereas of course Brinton is that little bit heavier.
Yeah, Brinton had more corner speed there, so he did close the gap a little bit on Belford. Is he going to go into turn one? He has to be careful when he turns in here. No, not quite close enough. Easy on the throttle this time. Amanuel down through the left into Scotsman.
1 mile remaining then into the right-hander.
Oh,
Belford's wide, and that's going to possibly allow an opportunity here for Brinton. Over the crest of the chicane, and a big moment there for Belford as he gets it all out of the seat, runs it to the outside of the curb, and now an opportunity could be there for the taking for Amanuel Brinton through the right-hander of Clark's. Down the back straight, it's going to be all about the run through the left-hander and into the hairpin then for these two riders. Brinton surely is going to go for the move if he's got the opportunity. He's late on the brakes, he's to the inside. Can he hold the line? Yes, he can. Brinton then in front when it matters, out of the final corner. It's a drag to the line though between Brinton and Belford. Who's going to take the checkered flag as they come across the line? Brinton gets it by 29 hundredths of a second from Evan Belford, and Sullivan Mounty completing the podium. Ryan Frost just gets the better of Julian Correa on the final lap there as well. Meanwhile, it's all kicking off further down as well. This is number 29 of Lucas Brown, just ahead of Alfie Davidson. A great recovery from the back of the grid. I think Davidson might actually get it on the line. No, not quite. 16 thousandths between those two riders for 10th place. And so close it was behind, but what a ride from Amanuel Brinton. Timed that beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. And on his debut at Knockhill to win the first ever race here is very impressive, and particularly impressive taking it to Evan Belford on that last lap. Evan Belford has been the master here at Knockhill. You've got to say he was rattled a little bit. He was under pressure in the middle part of that lap. He got it all back together as he headed round to chicane, but I think at that point the damage was done.
But he's got a new helmet design this weekend, Amanuel Brinton. In homage to his half Ethiopian heritage, and it certainly seems to be paying dividends for him out of that final corner. That was just textbook, wasn't it? And I have to say I was a little bit worried about the run to the line because we know that Brinton's slightly larger.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that might count against him for acceleration.
Yeah, and it's one thing getting the hairpin pass done, but getting round there and carrying your corner speed is another thing. And Belford, as you said, got a nice drive out of there, but fortunately Amanuel Brinton had done enough.
Fantastic ride from Amanuel Brinton. The 14-year-old takes his first win in the Honda British Challenge Cup for 2023. Superb effort as he stands on the top step, or will stand on the top step when the podium celebrations come about. His father down there as well, congratulating him. Let's take a look at the final results then from the R&G British Challenge Cup Race 1. Amanuel Brinton takes the spoils by 29 thousandths of a second from Evan Belford. Sullivan Mounty in third place, another podium for him, adding to his good points tally so far. Ryan Frost getting the better of Julian Correa on the final lap ahead of Harley McCabe. Ollie Walker, Scott McPhee inside the top 10 on his home track ahead of Ronnie Harris, and Lucas Brown, as we know, just by a whisker in front of Alfie Davidson to the checkered flag. Charlie Huntingford 12th, Soroviak 13th, Harrison Mackay 14th, and Clayton Edmonds from the back of the grid, recovering to score 1 point in 15th place. Great British Challenge Cup race here, and it all goes again this afternoon as well. Let's have a look, shall we, at the standings after that first race and see what it means ahead of race 2. 5 races into 2023, and it's Evan Belford with a 27-point swing in the championship now. 29 points ahead of Harrison Desoy, 39 points ahead of Harley McCabe, and Sullivan Mounty closing that gap down there in 5th position as well. A good point haul for Ollie Walker with 7th place, moves him slightly up the order into P8. Also, Charlie Huntingford and Alexander Rowan also getting themselves on the board as well. But further down, Harrison Mackay, Philip Soroviak, Clayton Edmonds with that 1 point finish there in 15th place. See Dan Goodman, of course, down in 22nd. 1 point on the board so far for him in 2022. He'll be hoping that if he can make it out for race 2 this afternoon, that he can get himself back in contention for a points finish.
Amanuel Brinton, what a last lap. I mean, you look like you had pace, you look really strong. Left it to the last corner, though, to put the move on the guy that's never been beaten around here.
Yeah, well, I made well, it was a pretty bad start, but yeah, he took a bit of a gap from me and I kept chipping away at it, catching him up, and then the last lap, well, I did a great overtake into the last corner, and well, I'm so happy with this win.
Looked to me like Evan has a little bit of speed on you through the chicane. Is that something you can work on for the race later on today?
Yeah, I need to try and cut the chicane a bit more, but yeah, apart from that, I think that's good.
Look fantastic out there. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. I just want to thank Kavara, Project Iris Racing Team, my whole family, and all of my sponsors, Shark, Alpine Stars, K-Tech, Suspension. But yeah, thank you.
Nicely done. Well done.
Thank you.
Amanuel Brinton on the top step of the podium, beating the man who has never been beaten, Evan Belford, at Knockhill in 2023. What a great ride from him. As I say, timed that overtake to perfection on the last lap, right when it mattered. He was there, ready for the taking, and you wonder whether he is going to be able to repeat that feat this afternoon. He got the fastest lap in that race, so it does mean that for race 2 here on Sunday, he will be able to start that one from pole position as well. Podium celebrations going to be taking place very soon. Of course, it was a bit of a race of attrition. The red flag that was brought out in the sort of mid-stages of the first running of that one, meaning that it was a 12-lap dash to the checkered flag. And any information, of course, that we do get on the condition of Daniel Goodman, we understand that he's got a very badly injured foot, or relatively badly injured foot, I should say, but he is otherwise okay and was up and talking to the medics. And with a bit of luck, he will be able to get back out for this afternoon, if not for the next round of the Honda British Talent Cup later on this season. Next time the riders will be out, actually, is going to be in the sunshine at Brands Hatch in, sorry, it's Snetterton, I should say, on the 7th to the 9th of July, which will be wonderful because it's always a great track. Snetterton always provides very close racing, especially in the R&G British Talent Cup. And what about this man here, Amanuel Brinton? Can he close down Evan Belford's championship lead? He's done the best to his ability so far this weekend. One more race to go this afternoon. An opportunity knocks for Amanuel Brinton to see whether he will be able to get himself in the fight for the title for the latter part of 2023. Riders making their way then onto the podium. Sullivan Mounsey, great for him to get to the checkered flag. I'm sure his confidence would have taken a slight knock after the high side at the final corner, the DNF that he suffered. But he makes his way into third place. Then comes Evan Belford. Good ride from him. Don't take anything away from finishing in second place. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that given his pace so far, but nonetheless, a very impressive result for him to get on the podium and still points in the championship, which are all important. There's the third place trophy being presented to Sullivan Mounsey. Then to Evan Belford in second place. Next up, it is Amanuel Brinton. A win for him at Knockhill in 2023. Great ride for the 14-year-old. And the team's trophy being presented as well. Fantastic. Let's have a look then and wait and see what happens tomorrow. Highlights then from race 1 of the R&G British Talent Cup. Saw it being a frenetic affair with Evan Belford getting away from the lights into the lead, followed by Rhys Stevenson in third place. And then you can see Sullivan Mounsey making some ground on the Lincolnshire lad, going up the inside into P3 at the first corner. Really nice ride from Mounsey in the early stages, but it was not so good of an end to the race for Rhys Stevenson with a big high side. And then this one also for Dan Goodman. He lay stricken in the middle of the track. The red flag was brought out. Thankfully, he was up and talking to the medics with a foot injury by the sounds of things. The race was restarted, a 12-lap dash to the finish. It was Evan Belford who got an early initial pace, and unfortunately it was an early end for Harrison Desoy, crashing out on the opening lap of the restart. The winner from Donington Park ending up on the deck. This was Amanuel Brinton's race-winning overtake on the final lap at the final corner. Timed the move to perfection. It was a drag to the line between Brinton and Belford, with Brinton ultimately reigning on top, getting the better of Belford, taking his first win of the 2023 season.